Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is Simpson & Vale's Louisa May Alcott green tea blend, which is a kind of fruity green tea, like strawberries, apples, very summery, very probably good iced as well, but I just felt like having hot tea. Got a little frog, which I think comes from the humidity. The humidity is getting a little better though. So I had one decent walk last week, but I may have some in the future if the weather's going to stay mild. And maybe I'll have some time without having to rely on AC, though I'm grateful for AC, don't get me wrong. So yeah, that I'm not talking about Louisa May Alcott today at all, but I like the author teas that Simpson Vale puts out. Interesting blends, mostly flavored black and green and herbal teas. I have one that, because they came out with like these cute tins, little rounded tins that have some kind of art on there that corresponds with the writer. I only got the one for Beatrix Potter, and I had it with other tins, right next to other tins, and that one got rusty and the other ones didn't. So I said, why am I going to invest a little more when I could just get some regular looking sack and spend a little less? Which is a shame. I would have liked to have collected them all, but you know what? I collect enough things. Oh my goodness. So Friday reads. It has been a good month so far of reading, but this is not really a wrap-up. It's just a really, hopefully, rapid-fire discussion of what I've read so far and what I'm continuing to read. But it has been for me. My pace is usually a good month is about 8 books in a month, so I've already finished five books. One of them is quite small, but still, two of them are books that are not the small books that I just read in their entirety in this month. So for me, that's good, and I'm happy at this pace. I really am. The latest one I finished was Jasper Fforde, The Constant Rabbit, which I will have things to talk about. Thankfully, I did like it more than the previous book that he wrote, and it's rather funny. I kind of tagged the parts that I thought were funny or ironic or whatever, and little references that I like. I'm a nerd. But one of the reasons why I wanted to finish this is because it comes out in the United States next month, which means I could have gotten it then. But I chose to get it earlier from the UK, so I figured I might as well read it then. I might as well have had it read by the time it comes out. Otherwise, what's the point? Although I really like this. I like that I could get it in paperback, new release paperback. I think that's the thing that UK does that the United States doesn't do. And I'm like, get on that. Just saying. The 2 books I finished that I had started earlier was, they're kind of colored similarly. Anthony Trollope's Dr. Thorne. Not my favorite of the Barsetshire novels. Chronicles of Barsetshire. Whatever. But still very good. I'm enjoying the Julian Fellows production on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it's going to be my favorite thing ever, but it's, easygoing stuff. I like that. So far, anyway. I only see 1 episode of 4. I finished Jane and the Unpleasantness at Scargrave Manor, which I will talk about in a Tea and Mystery, I hope. This was started to have something to read that was a mystery for Jane Austen in July, but I didn't finish it in time. Whatevs. I'll probably keep going with that series. Just not rushing to. This is a book I got as an advanced reader copy, and I read it within a day because it's that short. And it's called What? No, wait. Why does it say what? It doesn't say what. You Can Keep That to Yourself by Adam Smyer. A comprehensive list of what not to say to Black people for well-intentioned people of power. So it's made to look like a dictionary, which it basically is, right? And just explaining this one really got me. I did not know about the history behind this word, especially having watched Doctor Who. Just words that maybe you should think twice about saying and why. And it was somewhat humorous too, but the only thing I had to say, this is my personal issue with, I read books that will have like language, cursing, whatever, but I don't like it when there's too much, so that put me off a little bit. Otherwise, very good book. I have to review that in writing. So, and then the last one that I finished, although I think it was the first one I finished this month, the last one I'm showing you, is Rules of Civility by Amor Towles, which I was looking forward to so much since I finished Gentleman in Moscow last year. I was in San Diego last September really wish I could go back again. Passed by a little free library and it was in there, so helped myself. And thankfully it was worth more than just a free copy. And I did like it. I will say more about it in a wrap-up, I think. Very New Yorkish, which is probably the best thing about it to me, because I love that sort of thing. I'm in a book club, which is what it was chosen for, and so far a lot of the people in the book club are either not getting started in it or have a hard time going forward in it. They don't get it. They don't see the point of it or whatever. And that's kind of hard for me because I understand what some people are saying, but I'm also like, I'm the one who suggested the book. So almost every time it seems when I suggest a book for a book club, most of the people don't really like it, and I feel like maybe I should either stop being the one to suggest things, just let them do it and I'll read what they say, or just not be in book clubs, because I just feel, I don't know, maybe it's not for me, but I don't want to say that right away. I don't want to be all flouncing, you know what I mean? Anyway, it is what it is. So here are the books that I'm currently reading or about to start, and this I'm over halfway through, and this is Well Read Black Girl by Glory Edim, and I like it. It is just kind of essays by different black women, and who, mostly American, who just talk about their reading life, and mostly about their difficulties, growing up finding people in literature that they can relate to, which I understand, even myself. Not that, I read about people in history and they live very different lives than me, but a lot of them with the right hair and makeup and outfits kind of look like me, right? I mean, you go to an art museum with Western art, you will find someone who looks like me. You will. I'm not saying that I'm not putting my appearance as gorgeous or anything like that. I'm talking about just, yeah. So it's really hard to explain without sounding full of myself. Like, oh, yeah, I've got the face of an old, of royalty, but I mean, they were not necessarily attractive. But you see what I mean? There is something to say about being someone who can occasionally relate to books that are put upon you as important books to read growing up, and then not relating. So when you find something that is about someone that looks like you or has a similar life to you or something, it can be very encouraging and maybe will move you to read more and to write, because then also you may find writers that you can relate to. So that's a lot of what this is about, and it's very good and easy reading too. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of suggestions of books to read too, which I love. Love suggestions, people. Here's a book I have not started. I'm about to start. I definitely will not finish this in August. This will probably take at least the rest of the year, because it is big, and you guys know my track record lately with huge books. But trying anyway, because it's a buddy read with my sister, and I had a book, which I have no idea when I got it, because I couldn't figure it out if I bought it in Barnes & Noble, because it was a Barnes & Noble classic, or if I bought it in a used bookstore. It's been so long that I do not remember. And I deleted it from my catalog, online without checking when I put it in. So, I forgot. It doesn't matter though, because I've had it long enough that I forgot where I got it from. And I was sitting there and I was just about to crack it open, ready to get into this classic, and then I realized it said, as I was turning a page, it said abridged version. And I got mad. I know I've heard people say that this particular book can be read abridged and be appreciated and good. And people have said even that about Les Miserables. Some people say Les Miserables. But I am admittedly a bit of a snob. Even if it's hard, I want to read the complete book. I cannot maybe read it in the original language, but I must try to read it in, the way the writer wrote it. Even if he did go on and on. So, or she. But this is he. This is, I don't know. This is how I've heard his name pronounced. Alexandre Dumas. So, I don't know why I always think French is Dumas. Whatever. The Count of Monte Cristo. So yes, I ordered this the other day on Amazon. I don't always like buying books on Amazon, but you know, it was the best price I could find for this edition. And by far, I mean, and also because the other places that had decent prices were still not great, and they were from sites that I wasn't sure I was going to get this exact edition. And I'm like, I really wanted the Penguin Classics edition because my sister has that, and I said, if I'm gonna get it, I might as well get the same one my sister has. Anyway, and I've heard good things about this edition. So, translated with an introduction by Robin Buss. Oh wow. So anyway, I've heard a lot of people say wonderful things about this book, and I'm looking forward to getting it started. You know when it's brand new though, and you're like, oh, I don't want to crack it open, but I'm gonna have to. So, okay, the last two books that I started up again. I am continuing, yay, because I've been reading these books for a while, and I don't know what. It's just because I overwhelm myself with too many books. So I read a little more of The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I really want to finish this book. And, because I just want to. And it's still in the part of the book that I'm finding kind of depressing, but I feel like it's moving forward. So we're doing it. We're doing it. And this book you've probably seen because I've had it back of me for so long, looking at me. And I love it. I don't know what's taking me so long. And that is Ring the Hill by Tom Cox. Tom Cox. He's got another book coming out soon. And I think he has another book coming out soon. And I think he just mentioned that he's working on a novel, which I don't think he's done previous. So that's kind of interesting. That could be good or not. I don't know. Some people are better at other, forms. But I'm more than halfway through, and I started picking it up again, and I'm like, what is taking me so long with this? Because it's good. But I think it's okay, because it is a bit of a rambling walk of a memoir, and maybe that's how it's meant to be taken. It's not a novel. You don't have to be constantly engaged with it. So you can pick it up and put it down, pick it up. So I'm okay with that. So that's what those books that you saw me that I'm currently reading. I'll probably be reading this weekend at some point. So next week, and I think the week after, yes, is I forgot exactly what it's called, something like the History Challenge, which I thought I would really get involved in because I love history and I love nonfiction. That's up my alley. But I decided to do the low pressure version of it. In my TBR, I showed you 2 books that I might be reading for it. And I might still be reading from those books. There's also an historical novel that I really want to get into that I'm looking in front of me. I was about to pull out and show you, but it's under a bunch of books, and I don't feel like doing that right now. But, and I haven't started yet, so I don't know if I will. But I just don't want to overwhelm myself right now. I don't want to give myself too much pressure. I think it's a great challenge, and maybe if I had been thinking about it since the spring, I may have had a little time to put into planning for it. But as it is, I think this year I'm going to do the low pressure version of it, and the next 2 weeks I will probably read as much history as I can and as much historical fiction as I can, while still reading from the books that I'm currently reading from. And I think that'll be fine for me. No pressure, but I do want to maybe, wrap my mind around history a little bit, because it is a subject that I absolutely love and haven't been doing that much of recently. So, next month I think I'm going to be focusing a lot on Shakespeare, so there's history involved in that too. Ish. So I think that's enough for now. I'm trying to keep this short and shorter than my usual videos. Let me know what you guys think of any of these books, and if you've read any of them, if you want to read any of them, etc. If you like talking about these sort of things, please subscribe down below, etc. I say etc. a lot today. I'm so Latin. Ergo, this is Catherine taking tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and book-filled day.